Hello and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. I am the player who plays as the King of the Mountain, and today I'm just going to be going through a couple of formations that I've been sent by Riv, actually, to be fair to him. So it's a couple of formations he's been working on lately. One of them even doesn't involve Lotr, which amazes me to itself, to be perfectly honest. But I just wanted to showcase it because I think it's something that Umbra touched on a long time ago in theory and from the PBE, and just to see how it was getting on now. He's kind of changed his formation a little bit in the last few weeks. It's always been strong, and he's got some really cool comms. But I just kind of wanted to just go through some battle reports and just show you the kind of results he's getting with these teams, because I think as far as RP Evil goes, both look pretty strong, to be honest. So, first one is this Saruman, Shadow, and Scowl formation. Now, the Rooster account is no slouch, right? And I get he's got a counter here and he's got some T4 in there, but he's also got some Tier 2s. I'll just go through his gear because I think it's important to go through. So, his Scowl's pretty quick, but I think in this particular fight, White Council actually got hold of him. But 4 Refine Unique. So it's a pretty wailed formation. He's just pretty much worked on Saruman quite recently. Then he's got a really cool Shadow, which he's using in the physical damage build. We've kind of got a lot of debate on which one's better in that. Then he's got Respect 13 Sauron with some decent gear to obviously command and tank a lot, which is what his tank in this formation is. Now, that result v Rooster's genuinely really impressive because Rooster's gear is sickeningly good. And this is the first of the fights that kind of alerted Riv to what was going on. So I just kind of wanted to show that. I mean, like I say, Rooster's formation is pretty disgusting. He then had to go with his Nazgul team, which is even more interesting, and gets Lotr back in. Now, Lotr tanks quite well with Fallen because of the unique that he has. So if I just sort of show you that, it basically makes makes Fallen into a tank to a degree for him in this sort of way, which they take a lot of hits for him, which is quite interesting. It's a really, really fun formation, and I think he'll develop this and refine it over a period of time. He's using his Lotr here for damage while still tanking, so 70k isn't, to be sniffed at from a tank. Scowl's done about 70k, and this was the fight, I think, where Scowl wasn't quick enough. So, yeah, it took a little bit of initiative off her, so she wasn't quite quick enough, and then got affected by Rooster's Gandalf the White, which I think he did change in the future of that because of the way this full agility set works. And that's why this result was a little bit different. I mean, it's still an impressive result considering there's War Drummers on there and things like that. 2 T4s in here, but he's really enjoying using the Vanguards as well. And they are actually a really cool troop. I mean, he's getting 170 defense on Shadow's troops. I mean, that's absolutely obscene, while still getting a good damage output from him. So I just thought that was quite an interesting full Nazgul formation that you don't see too often. He's using the Undying here for an evade. A lot of talk around evil in general and needing sort of a Sauron in there, but as this sort of shows, not necessarily. I mean, Rooster's gear is probably at the same level, so that was an interesting fight. There's also no counter buff in there, to be fair. I think, do these classes mediums? Never know this. I think the class is small, so maybe one counter buff. But the War Drummers are really powerful. Resource-wise, Rooster's probably won that fight, but that's genuinely good. I'd probably work that out, actually. It's probably quite close because he's actually kept a lot of the expensive units. So, but I just wanted to showcase that was a pretty cool fight as well. And it's just showing some different things, and that was it. Yeah, he has faster Gandalf the White on the second report, so the Scowl damage doesn't quite go off as well. So this was the difference from a fight with Hugh. Hugh's got a really strong team. So this is his full Nazgul team again. Just to show you Hugh's gear, it's pretty strong. He's using the Great Beast as a tanking unit, so again, really, really strong. His Dane's quite nice, and I think he's got a really disgusting Shadow. Also using the Vanguards on him, with this sort of physical damage received buff, and the skills of this with the Undead Ally and things like that are actually pretty good. So again, Hugh's defense isn't as high as Riv's because he hasn't gone down the route of unit defense in here, which is probably the difference in this fight. which has allowed Shadow here to output the damage that he needs. So that was a pretty cool fight. This was his Sauron formation for it. And again, pretty cool. There's some tier 2 units in here across the board, which makes it really impressive. Some snaggers going on. But I just kind of wanted to showcase yet again that this full evil comp with 3 damage dealers, let's be honest. I know Saruman clears White Council and so does Shadow, which can be seen as a bit of a supporting role as well. But that's an impressive output from there. This kind of setup with these 3 here against White Council formations with a Gil is actually really impressive still, because it still melts White Council fast enough for you to do enough damage early against those squishy elves. If I just kind of scroll down, I did actually say, after I'd lost a fight there, I just wanted to see a fight versus a Gil. And I believe he did show it me here. Yes, so fight versus a very strong Gil. And he's done pretty well there, to be honest. This is a really strong Gil team. So this is this is what people are classing as this meta comp. So with the gear and everything else in this formation and the Zenith levels, that's a really strong result. Bear in mind he's got 2 tier 2 units in there. So it does still shred Gil formations as well. And this is that whole... it's pretty cool. 3 damage dealers. There isn't a White Council in there, and it comes back to that debate of is Gandalf really needed if you can output enough damage. Interesting food for thought on that one, I think. Then he's got a couple of other pretty cool results. This is the comparison of these 2 formations again. This is my favourite person on the server, TNT, as his dwarf formation is dynamite. Okay, terrible joke, but still, it is genuinely dynamite. Like, he is a serious dwarf lord. Got absolutely stuffed on the update because he's got a lot of commander defense, and with the R5 changing, it hasn't really helped his sort of cause. But his dwarf formation is outrageous. I think he's got a Zenith Ori as well, which is also pretty cool. But love that guy. But Riv's got a sort of result there. Again, using the evade side of it against a lot of tier 4, he's got a decent result there as well. I say decent, that's more than decent, and a lot of merit. So it's just to sort of showcase these 2 formations, which are quite fun. You know, one involves a Sauron, which you would class as a meta commander. Scalhelm is probably up there somewhere in the meta, and Saruman's definitely in the meta, and so Shadow. So it's a different version of the meta. I'd say this is more of an evil meta sort of side of it. He sort of did some gear changes, and then come back and hit the Ogre account, which is really, really strong. For some reason, he calls me Billiam. I don't know why that stuck, but he does like calling me Billiam. The Ogre account's stupidly strong. Now, again, he's got 2 tier 2 units in here, and he's using Sauron's defense just to bump up the tier 2 defense there. So he's using that as sort of a semi-tank. Interestingly, only the 2 DDs in here, so he sort of tweaked the formation a little bit, probably to suit the fact that he's fighting Ogre, if I'm being honest. Riv's a pretty smart player. But this account is stupidly good also. And what I will say is it was a predominantly evil account, as I looked at it at one point. And the Shadow in it's disgusting. I actually talked to the guy who runs this account the other day and said you should put Shadow back in because he got a disgusting Shadow, and he started to see better results now. But it was a predominantly evil account beforehand, so the gear and things in that account is just stupid. And then if we just go down to the last few, what I think this formation does really, really well is it cleans half armies very well as well. So you hardly take any damage, which is something that the Guild formations also do really well. So this kind of if I'm hitting this, I would still probably get down to about 6-9. And it's also a really good combination for clearing keep armies and things like that, and tile armies, because your damage output early is just stupid. I mean, even here, you know, he's still causing damage from Undying. I know it's only the 18k in this fight, but he has got it set to do a little bit of damage as well. So tank and a little bit of damage, but it's a really interesting formation that he's kind of developed and sort of worked through. these kind of fights here against the Gill formation when you're already half full is also impressive that he's managed to wipe that, because it's so hard to get through the amount of damage that you need to kill a Gill. I mean, Shadow here doing 171 damage. I'm probably going to try and get a live going about this formation with Riv, because I think it'd be quite fun to talk through, but I just wanted to talk through where it's at. And you can see again here, these kind of semi-full formations like this and this, he's hardly taking any damage. Against the really full ones, I mean, some of these are actually okay accounts and things, and he's just wiping the floor with them. So it's a fun combination. I think he sent me a couple more, maybe, where he's changed sides in the night, because I'm pretty sure, though, Riv, you shouldn't be on that side, should be on Lorien, but we'll let you off because it's for content purposes. Even against combinations, like I say, where they've got the evade and the Shire ponies and things like that, he's still wiping these teams. So it's a really strong sort of double set of stuff. Now, I know that he seems to have settled a little bit more on this kind of dual 2 damage dealer setup. I'd be interested to see if that stays, because it seems to have been what he's preferred over the last day or so. Again, versus Hugh, and a really good combination using the 2 DDs. I would say the 3 DDs in this case actually worked a little bit better for him. I think he's just trying to up his Saruman's unique. Again, he's hitting stacks and cleaning them out. This is, I would assume, a fighting King of the Dead. Everyone loves those. That is a seriously expensive formation. So that was that one. Donut Reiko is actually a really strong account as well. So this is another good example of how well this kind of formation's doing for him, and how these sort of 2 or 3 formations are doing. What I like about it is he can mix and match his formation, which is nice. I've got a similar system going with mine where I can swap in Shadow in and out, or Bjorn in and out. It's nice to see that people can do things like this now, and get good results. You know, I mean, there's nothing to be sniffed at with any of these results as far as it goes. And again, see, cleaning out another half army. I think this is normally a guy who runs, again, full evil pretty much, but as you can see, he's hit a variety of combinations there, and those 2 styles of army have done really well. I get he's got high levels, but if you're comparing sort of apples for apples and things like that, this comp and the other comp as well, in fact, all 3 comps seem to do pretty well. So it was just really just to show that, and where he was at with it. And thanks, Riv, for that. Really appreciated. Our season's still ongoing as it was. I'm still running the same stuff, and my Undying is still a Pather, but maybe I should have to update it a little bit and change my opinion, because it seems to be working quite well for a few people, but still not for me, I don't think yet. I think Gil's probably the better version of that. But anyway, I just wanted to showcase those few evil formations and some battle reports. The key to it is the early damage and the clearing of White Council from all the different skills in it. We'll probably go into it in more detail, but I wanted to keep this quite brief today. So thanks for your time as always, and if in doubt, always follow your nose.